Hello, and welcome to the Amongst Romance podcast, your window to everything Italy from an outsider's perspective. Join us each week as we navigate the Italian way of life and all the adventures that come along with it. This podcast, we often try to introduce you to a new location or give you some tips for exploring the maybe more popular destinations that you want to visit. Sometimes I like to look at social media and see what kind of questions people are asking. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people were wondering about souvenirs. So when you're coming to Italy, you had a great time, you want to bring something back, and it's very tempting to buy one of those trinkets from souvenir shops, especially in touristy destinations. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I think a lot of people were looking for more ideas on different types of products, maybe something that will last you longer. So it's going beyond getting that magnet or keychain with a favorite name or funny aprons or t-shirts with funny sayings. There's nothing wrong with those things. It's just they're not going to last you as long. Plus, I think if you're looking for something that's surely Italian, it's really worth getting something that's made here. And a lot of these souvenirs from the souvenir shops, the figurines, the aprons, the tags, and so on, a lot of them are made in China. So they're not really made in Italy. So then you have to ask yourself, do you want to bring a souvenir truly from Italy or just one that reminds you of Italy? If you're looking for a truly unique Italian souvenirs and you want something that will last you for a longer time, then you're going to love this episode. I've decided to put together a list of things that maybe you haven't really thought of or didn't think about investing in when you come to Italy. Italy is known for crafts. So, things from leatherworks to shoes, fashion. There's a lot of different items that are made in Italy that are highly valued. And you can get them in other places as well. But I think sometimes when you come to Italy, you can get from the source. The first thing I would recommend is leather goods. If you're into leather, Italy makes some really great leather. They have a long-standing tradition of leather craftsmanship, and you'll find many high-quality items that are made here in Italy. So wallets, handbags, belts, shoes, even jackets, you can get those here in Italy and bring them home with you. There are certain places where leather is more commonly produced. Not too far from where we live, they do have a town that makes leather, and I don't know where to distribute it, but they do make it here. However, if you go to places like Florence, Milan, or Venice, they are well known, especially Florence. It's very well known for leather manufacturing. So the best way to get leather, especially in Florence, if you go to these markets that they have a lot of stands with leather products. So if you're looking for purses, belts, wallets, those type of things, they have a lot of options. Those are usually people who make them, selling them right there. We've been many times, and I don't think I've seen that many stands selling leather goods as I have seen in Florence. So again, if you are looking into getting a nice wallet, a purse, something more substantial, it might cost you more than a keychain, obviously, but at least it will last you longer. So when you're shopping for leather, pay attention to the quality of the leather and the craftsmanship. Authentic Italian leather should feel soft and supple and has a distinct aroma. That's why you'll have that smell kind of permeating the air. If you are in a market with lots of stalls, you will smell it. You'll know that it's the real thing. Look for items made by local artisans using traditional techniques, and you can always ask them, did you make it? Where did you make it? And so on. So I think anything leather will last you longer, and it will also be a more practical solution for a souvenir. Now, if you really want a unique souvenir, maybe not as practical as leather, but just as stunning, consider getting a Venetian mask. So now masks are associated with the Venice Carnival. If you come during that time, you will see them everywhere. You can find cheaper version of the masks when you go to Venice. So, souvenir shops will have little knockoffs. They can be made from various materials, but the actual real masks are very intricately designed. And, the ones that you see in pictures, those are the ones that will set you back a bit more, but also will be a lot more impressive, I think. There's different types of the masks. If you look at any pictures with people with masks from the festival, they're very elaborate. One of the most popular masks is the bauta, and this one features the square jawline, has no mouth, and a very pronounced nose. And it was traditionally worn with a black tricorn hat and a cloak. These masks were designed to completely conceal the person's identity and social status. They're uniquely designed and uniquely shaped, and it allowed people to eat and drink without removing the mask. They were particularly important if you wanted to partake in the celebrations and you didn't want people to know who you are. Another one that's fairly common is the colombina. This mask, it's named after a character from the Commedia dell'arte. It's a half mask that covers only the eyes, nose, and upper cheeks. This one is typically decorated with gold, silver, and crystals. And that's the one that has the feathers. So it creates like a really elegant and feminine appearance. And the colombina was particularly popular about women, not surprising, who didn't want to completely hide their face, but still wanted a bit of that allure. It's still very popular today and one of the most sought after styles. So another one, if you're looking for very iconic masks, is the Modico della Peste, which is the plague doctor. This is the one that has the long beak. I think that one has been portrayed in so many different genres. This mask originated during the plague in the 17th century, and it was worn by the doctors, so the people who were trying to help the sick. The reason the beak is so long, it's because it was stuffed with aromatic herbs and spices, which at the time they believed that they were protecting against the disease, and I'm pretty sure they kind of mask some of the smell that must have been permeating in those days. So today, these masks are often crafted with intricate details and they're decorated with jewels and gold. If you're looking for a fierce look, go for this one. Another one is the volto, which is a full face, and it's also known as a citizen's mask or larva, and that means ghost in Latin. The volto is, again, a full-face white mask, traditionally made of fine wax cloth. It's very simple and elegant, and it's designed to provide anonymity. If you are wearing this, people don't really know who you are. It's great for concealing your identity. Modern versions are often crafted from paper mache or leather. They might also feature elaborate painted designs and gold leaf accents. Now, the last one I'm going to mention, because there's quite a few more, is the Arlecchino, which is the Harlequin. And this mask represents the comic servant character from the Commedia dell'arte. So again, this one typically features a bumpy forehead, arched eyebrows, and small diamond-shaped eyes. Modern versions often have the character's signature diamond pattern and bright colors into the mask decoration. There are many iconic masks to choose from if you really want that unique souvenir. And the best place to buy authentic Venetian masks is obviously in Venice, but you have to be careful because there are lots of mass-produced imitations. So again, you're looking for something that is authentic and quality made. You might have to visit workshops where the artisans make them, and you can buy it directly from the artisans. There are certain neighborhoods in Venice known for the masks. One is the Dorsoduro district. The second one is Sao Paulo neighborhood and the Castello area. When choosing a mask, make sure to look for hand-painted details, intricate designs, and high-quality materials. Those will typically cost you more, but you have the quality, the original materials, and this will probably last you a lot longer. The artisans are very happy to explain their creative process, so you can also learn about mask making and how they create it. So it's a treat not just to bring home with you, but also to learn something about the tradition. Ceramics are another great idea for Italian souvenirs that you can bring home with you. There are so many places in Italy where you can get beautiful ceramics. They're renowned for their vibrant colors, exquisite craftsmanship, and they're so diverse in the styles that, like I said, you can find them all over Italy. They're usually handcrafted and very pretty. So you can get a plate, a jar, you can get a statue. And if you come to places like Amalfi Coast, for example, there are so many places along the coast where you can buy different pottery, hand-painted ceramics, and they vary from small sort of like ashtray size to really big plates that you can hang on the wall. And I think the last time we were there, I checked, like a really big one was, I think, about 400 or 600 euros. So quite expensive. A big plate like that, it's not going to be the same as a little ashtray or a little bowl. But if you're looking for something that's a statement piece that you can incorporate into your home, then I would say go for something like that. It's handmade, it's original, and most of these places will ship it directly to your house, so you don't have to worry about transporting it. Another place where you can get ceramics is Umbria, known for distinctive green and gold patterns. The ceramics that come from here have been made since probably around Middle Ages, and the town has numerous workshops where you can watch skilled artisans make them and watch the whole process. Sicily is another place where they make ceramics. I love the ceramics in Sicily. They're very bright, they're interesting. The most popular ones you will find are sets of two heads. One is a man's head and one is a woman's head. Sometimes they have different faces, different designs. They have very elaborate headpieces. And they're very popular because there's a big story or legend that comes with them. As the legend says, there was a beautiful girl who lived in the heart of Palermo, and she was into plants. She loved planting them on her balcony and taking care of them. So one day, she met this man. He was Moorish. They fell madly in love, and they were overwhelmed by their desire. Everything was going great until she found out that he was going back home, and he had a wife and children waiting for him, which again, it didn't work so well. She was possessed by the green eye monster, as we would say, probably jealousy today. She was mad and humiliated by his betrayal. She did the only logical thing and she killed him while he was asleep. And she cut off his head, as one does, I guess, and turned it into a vase. And she planted a basil. So she kept watering the plant with her tears. Again, Italians are very dramatic. So she planted this basil in his head, and apparently this basil was very fragrant and it was the envy of the neighborhood. So of course, being very entrepreneurial, they started making ceramic vases to resemble the heads. So that's how they started, which take it as you will for the story that it is. And that's how you get the more heads. You should always get them in pair because it goes with the legend. Now, if you're looking for something less violent, but just as interesting, I would say look into getting glass from Murano. Again, we're going back to Venice. Murano glass is one of the most sought after souvenirs. It's exquisite craftsmanship and has a variety of stunning designs. One of the first times that we went to Italy, we were in Venice and we actually came across a workshop and watched them make the glass. It was quite fascinating. If you've ever seen how glass is made, you would love this. Venetian glass comes from the island of Murano, and the tradition of making glass there goes back to the 13th century. You can buy everything from jewelry, decorative vases, bowls, light fixtures, figurines, glassware, whatever you want made from the Murano glass. The best place to find authentic glass is on the island of Murano. Here you can visit many of the workshops where they make it, but Venice, anywhere there, you can find glass. There are also more high-end shops that would sell it. The further away from Venice you go, you still probably find some, but not as much of a choice as you will have in Venice. So again, if you can't make it there, I would say just look around Venice itself and you'd likely be able to find the glass from Murano. And of course, there'll be like a sticker. There's going to be some kind of trademark that will tell you this is the real thing. It's not imitation and it's not made somewhere like China. So again, it's very fragile. If you want, they can probably ship it to you. We've brought glass from Venice to Toronto, but we bought small pieces, so they didn't get damaged. But I would say if you're looking to buy glass, make sure you have enough space in your suitcase to fit it so the stuff doesn't get damaged as you fly home. We can't talk about buying Italian souvenirs without talking about wine. So if you're into wine, you know that Italy is a great destination for wine lovers. There are so many different styles of wine made in almost every region across Italy. So again, different flavors, different styles of wine, there's different varieties and blends. Now, the most popular ones are obviously Tuscany. You have Chianti, Brunello, di Montalcino, but you also have places like Piedmont. There's Veneto, Sicily. Sicily has the Nero di Avola and Marsala wine, which are very famous. There's also wine that Alex likes in particular, and it's from Puglia. Abruzzo also has wine. There's even wine made here where we live in Campania. It's a very wine-rich region as well. So if you're looking at bringing some special wine, because not all the wine from Italy you can find back home. I know in Canada there were certain wines that the LCBO imported, but not all of them. So there were some wines that we were able to get in Italy that we were not able to get back home. And if you were able to get them back there, they were way more expensive. So I would say whenever you're traveling to whatever region you're traveling to, find out what the specialty is in that region. Sometimes they'll have the reds, sometimes they'll have the white. And if you're not sure if you like the wine, you can always go for a wine tour. Wine tours are a great way to sample the local wines and learn about how they make them, the different variety of grapes they use and the flavors that they get from the earth. So wine is always a great souvenir to bring home, even if you want to give it as a gift to someone back home. Wine is always going to be a hit, especially, if they like wine. So make sure that you buy wine that you like. If you haven't tried it, I would say that's your own chance. Depends how adventurous you are. In Italy, you can always find wine in the grocery stores. Obviously, if it's more high-end wine from a particular winery, you might not find it in the store. But overall, I think grocery stores have a pretty decent selection of wines, especially the local wines. So you might be able to save some money by buying it in a grocery store as opposed to getting it at duty-free or from a souvenir shop or a wine shop. Think about this when you think about what you want to bring with you, especially if you are into wine and you like a particular wine that you are not able to get back home. This is always a good idea to bring back. Speaking of things you can consume, of course, we can't talk about Italian souvenirs without talking about food products. Depends on where you live and depends on your country's regulations. You might not be able to bring certain things back home with you. Now, I would suggest always check your country, like your origin country, the regulations for what you can bring. So for example, if you're wanting to bring cheese, you might not be able to bring every kind of cheese, but you might be able to buy cheese that's maybe vacuum sealed. So if you're buying that at a grocery store, you might be okay, but you might not be. You might be better off getting it duty free. If you're going with that option, just keep in mind that they don't always have them at duty free, not all the varieties. So again, you have to look more into the rules of your home country before deciding if this is a souvenir for you. Olive oil is another great option. Back home in Canada, olive oil, especially imported from Italy, is very expensive. So if you're looking for something that's more affordable and tastes great and comes directly from a source, virgin olive oil here is great. Look at grocery stores, find out what they have. And, you could put that in your suitcase and bring home with you and then enjoy for however long you're going to go through the oil. I think it's a great option, especially if you are into olive oil. I think go for that. You can always get at duty free as well. I think they have some there. But I would say if you don't want to spend too much money on it, go in a grocery store. They have great selection of olive oils at the grocery stores. Another one that's, I think, very good here that might be more expensive back home is the balsamic vinegar. True balsamic vinegar comes from Modena and it's usually aged for at least 12 years. So it's a bit thicker and it's a bit sweeter. It's quite good. I like to put it on many different things. So if you're into the olive oil with some vinegar and dipping your bread in it, they don't do it here in Italy. But if you want to do this back home, you can bring home with you a bottle of vinegar and a bottle of olive oil, and you can enjoy that taste back home. So make sure you look for the DOP, which is a stamp that guarantees authenticity and quality. So again, traditional balsamic vinegar comes in distinct bottles, bulb-shaped from Modena, and inverted tulip-like from the region of Reggio Emilia. Again, you can get this at the grocery store. If you are in that part of Italy, you'll have a better selection than, let's say, where we are, which is not a region known for producing this type of vinegar. Now, we can talk about Italian pasta, and you might think that's kind of a silly thing to bring back home when you can get pasta at home. Yes, that is true. But what I'll tell you is that Italy has so many different pastas that you probably have never seen back home. If you go to a grocery store, you'll find pastas that are shaped like really long, like breadsticks almost. You'll find flat ones that look like coins. You will find different shapes that you've never seen before. That was my experience when I came to Italy, and I was like, what is this pasta? There's different colors, different shapes, and different textures that they don't have back home. They don't have in Canada this type of pasta. Now, if you're looking for another place where you might find pasta, is when you go along the highway, they have these sort of like auto grill stops. They have these stores that almost resemble duty free, so you're going to have to wind your way through them to exit. Sometimes they do have these really awesome like gift packs almost of different pasta packages with, sometimes it comes with a tomato sauce, olive oil, or additional dried herbs or something like that. If you are stopping in one of them and you are thinking of bringing something unique and you're open to pasta and different things, look for those, because that will save you some time, because you don't have to look for the oil, you don't have to look for the sauce, you don't have to look for the pasta. It's kind of all together. And because it's all packaged together, you know that it goes together, right? Those are really fun and I think make a great gift, even if you want to bring it back to someone back home. So there's other things that maybe are less controversial when bringing back home. You have truffles. Again, truffles could be vacuum sealed or dried or even powder or ground, whatever it is. There's different truffle varieties. If you are into truffles, I think that's a great thing to bring back home. Again, back home, they could be more expensive. In Canada, truffles are really expensive. So getting them here, you're probably going to pay less. And if it's a taste you enjoy, you're getting a fresh product that you can bring back home and enjoy. Same goes for chocolate. Italians make very good chocolate. There are certain places like Turin or Modica in Sicily where you can find authentic chocolate to bring back home with you. And you can get those anywhere, shops, grocery stores, off the highway shops, or even duty-free or chocolate shops. So you have different options, different places where you can buy Italian chocolate. If you are a chocolate lover, you love the chocolates, you can always bring it back home to someone else who loves chocolate. Now, the last one I'm going to touch upon is limoncello. So again, it's a lemon liqueur, and it's very popular here on the Amalfi Coast. You can get like a creamy version of limoncello, or you can get like a clear one. And they're both made with Sorrento lemons. Surprisingly, those lemons are kind of like big and lumpy. They don't really have a lot of like flesh inside, but those are the ones they use to make limoncello. Actually, Alex's aunt makes her own limoncello. So again, it's something that is so popular that people even make their own. And those could be quite expensive if you get them from, let's say, if you're on the Amalfi Coast and you go into like a souvenir shop geared to tourists. If you go to the grocery store, you can find limoncello that's authentic from Italy, from the Amalfi Coast, for a lot less. So again, keep that in mind if you're looking for limoncello in particular, whether it's for yourself or someone else to bring back home. Another item that you might want to invest in is lace. So there are a couple places that are known for lace, and one of them is Burano, which again is up in Venice. They make a lot of different lace items. If you think of home decor items like towels or napkins or tablecloths, they make everything from lace that you might not even know about. Burano lace in particular used to be known as a decorative item. So it was used for collars, cuffs, and capes. So it can be very elaborate and very expensive, especially the more detailed it gets. If you are getting married or you know someone who is, getting a veil made from Burano lace could also be a great gift. It's a tradition. They've been making it since about the 16th century. So you are getting a very delicate pattern, and that pattern has been very famous and popular throughout time. So you almost are getting a piece of history back with you. You don't have to get something elaborate. You can get something small, a piece of it to bring back home with you and enjoy not just the style of it, but also the tradition that went into making this particular item. Now, when we're talking about Italy, you can't skip Italian fashion. So places like Milan are known for fashion, and big places like Milan, Rome, Florence, Venice, the big cities, you'll have a lot more option for different Italian fashions. But I would say don't overlook smaller towns. When we were in Sicily last summer, we went to a small town in Sicily. We stayed there for a couple of days, and we came across this really small boutique. They had Italian-made clothes. I'm not sure what the brand is. I can't find it, but it was incredibly soft. I ended up buying pants and a top. I think it was almost like linen. It was very well made, and it was really nice. And again, it's very unique. So I'm not going to expect everybody else wearing the same thing. If you look for designer handbags, shoes, tailored suits, scarves, jewelry, whatever you name it, they make it. If you are looking for something particular, go to Milan, you'll definitely find it. Rome also. But like I said, don't overlook the smaller towns that also offer a lot of different options from smaller designers or brands that are not as popular outside of Italy, but they're very well made and iconic. So you can bring home something that is unique and is made in Italy. So when we go into souvenirs from Italy, all of that stuff I've mentioned is easily accessible. But another thing you might not think of bringing home with you is Italian art and antiques. If you're interested in art and history, that's definitely something you can bring back home with you. There's many different places where you can get reproductions of famous artworks, and you can actually get real antiques. So again, Italy, it's an old place. They've had stuff forever. So if you go to these weekly markets, sometimes they even have like monthly editions when they bring like antiques and things. Not every weekly market has that. You'd have to look into where you're staying. And sometimes they'll have like a bigger market where they'll have lots of people, selling antiques, selling different things, and you can go on like a personal treasure hunt. So if you're looking for things like antique books or maps, you can even find Roman coins or artifacts. Just make sure that whenever you buy something substantial, you do have paperwork for it, that it's not, it's not stolen. So whenever you're buying antiques or art, always ask for a certificate of authenticity and make sure you check regulations on exporting cultural items. I'm not talking about little paintings, but if you're looking into something bigger that might be questionable, I would say that's a good idea to find out whether you can bring it home with you and enjoy it for however long you want to decorate your house. Another thing to think about is regional specialties. So each region has their own specialties, something that might be made just in that particular region that you're visiting. They're all very different. They're all very particular. They have long histories. You can look at things like Sicilian puppets. That's a tradition there that they used to make. You can look for textiles from Perugia or even traditional woven baskets in Sardinia. Here in Naples, they are known for creating these nativity scenes and different scenarios, and they're very famous for it. If you want something truly unique, I would encourage you to ask the locals. They will tell you what the specialty is. That could be wine, that could be some kind of food product, that could be something, like one of those things. You will find that you're getting something that's truly unique, made in Italy, and something you can enjoy for some time to come. And of course, you can bring a piece of Italy home with you. If you're into Christmas, and a lot of people are, if you come during, let's say, November, like now, November, December, you can always get Christmas ornaments. Many places have unique Christmas traditions and different ornaments. So if you are going to the different Christmas markets or if you're in different shops, especially during Christmas time, they will have decorations like that available. Now, if you're traveling to Rome and you're going to the Vatican, you might also find the streets around the Vatican, they're selling ornaments. So again, it's a very unique piece you can bring back home with you. Like I mentioned, Naples is known for the nativity scenes. So if you are really into that Christmas mood and you want to bring that home with you, those are your best options. Or for somebody back home who loves Christmas. As you see, there are many different souvenirs you can bring back home with you. I haven't touched on every single thing. These are just the main ones I can think of. These are my suggestions for what I think you should bring home with you. You know, there's nothing wrong with buying keychains and fridge magnets and all those cute little souvenirs. You know, those are all fun and they make great gifts for people. But if you're looking for something a bit more unique, then one of these souvenirs will be an option for you. So there you have it.